Good morning, friends. I am going to now read the questions from block 2. And firstly, there is a quote that is given. It is the block approaches to evaluation. The quote is, "The best evaluation I can make of a player is to look in his eyes and see how scared they are." It was spoken by Michael Jordan. I will explain it when I will explain them into Hindi, but in this video, I will read only this question. I will read into two parts because the question is very large. So what is the question? Let's see. Distinguish between summative and formative evaluation with suitable examples. Asked in December 2010. Or write note on formative evaluation and its objectives. It was asked in December 2011. Or write note on summative evaluation and its objectives. Asked in June 2012. Or differentiate formative evaluation with summative evaluation. It was asked in December 2007. Or explain the differences in the methods and purposes of formative and summative evaluation. Asked in December 2009. Let's read answer. A formative assessment is an ongoing assessment used to inform instruction. The frequency is not defined, so it might be weekly or quarterly. Also, the type of measure used is not defined, so long as the information is helpful for the teacher in making adjustments to instruction in an ongoing manner. It could be as simple as classroom observations, a fluency test, or a full diagnostic assessment. A summative assessment is given at predetermined intervals. It could range from a state assessment to a benchmark test or an end of unit test. It specifically is testing the knowledge that a student should have mastered by a particular point in time. A summative assessment is used for accountability. Formative assessment. The goal of formative assessment is to monitor student learning, to provide ongoing feedback that can be used by instructors to improve their teaching and by students to improve their learning. More specifically, formative assessments help students identify their strengths and weaknesses and target areas that need work, help faculty reorganize where students are struggling and address problems immediately. Formative assessments are generally low stakes, which means that they have low or no point value. Examples of formative assessments include asking students to draw a concept map in class to represent their understanding of a topic, submit one or two sentences identifying the main point of a lecture, turn in a research proposal for early feedback. Now this is the summative assessment. So before reading the summative assessment, now there is a chart above. Here you can see the difference between the formative assessment and summative assessment. Okay, so you can also see this chart, but I will read this chart in later part of the video, so we can again jump back towards the summative assessment. Let's read now the summative assessment. The goal of summative assessment is to evaluate student learning at the end of an instructional unit by comparing it against some standard or benchmark. Summative assessments are often high stakes, which means that they have a high point value. Examples of summative assessments include a midterm exam, a final project, a paper, a senior recital. Information from summative assessments can be used formatively when students or faculty use it to guide their efforts and activities in subsequent courses. The main difference between summative or formative assessment is the purpose for conducting the assessment. Formative evaluation is used to monitor the learning progress of students during the period of instruction. Its main objective is to provide continuous feedback to both teacher and student concerning learning successes and failures while instruction is in process. Feedback to students provide reinforcement of successful learning and identifies the specific learning errors that need correction. Feedback to teachers provides information for modifying instruction and for prescribing group and individual remedial work. Formative evaluation depends on tests, quizzes, homework, classwork, oral questions prepared for each segment of instruction. These are usually mastery tests that provide direct measures of all the intended learning outcomes of the segment. The tests used for correlative evaluation are mostly teacher made. Observational techniques are also used in monitoring student progress and identifying learning errors. Since formative evaluation is used for assessing a student learning progress during instruction, the results are not used for assigning course grades. Summative evaluation is designed to find out the extent to which the instructional objectives have been achieved at the end of a terminal period. It is used primarily for assigning course grades or for certifying student mastery of the intended learning outcomes at the end of a particular course program. The techniques used for summative evaluation are determined by the instructional objectives. For this evaluation, there are external examinations as well as teacher-made tests, rating, etc. Although the main purpose of summative evaluation is assigning grades, it also provides information for judging the appropriateness of the course objectives and the effectiveness of instruction. The terms summative and formative evaluation were, for the first time, conceptualized by Michael Scriven in his classic essay on the methodology of evaluation. According to him, summative evaluation refers to the assessment of worthwhileness of the instructional program which has already been completed, while formative evaluation refers to the assessment or worth of the instructional program which is still going on and can still be modified. A summative evaluator gathers information and judges the merit of overall instructional sequence to retain or adapt that sequence. The audience of summative evaluation is the consumer of the instructional program in comparison to the formative evaluator, whose audience is the designer and developer of the program. A formative evaluator is a partisan of the instructional sequence and does everything to make teaching learning better. A summative evaluator is an uncommitted, non-partisan person who is to pass judgment on an instructional endeavor. A very clear distinction is made between these concepts by Bloom, Hastings, and Maddox. Summative evaluation, according to them, is judgmental in nature. Its purpose is to appraise the teaching learning process and to distinguish it from formative evaluation. It is an end of the course activity concerned with assessment of the larger instructional objective of a course or a substantial chunk of the course. Our public examinations, annual and term tests are all summative tests used for making summative evaluation. It is a measurement of pupils' achievement and not of their day-to-day improvement. Thus, it is a status evaluation of a student. The major function is that of grading, promoting, or certification of achievement. It may take place at the end of a unit, term, or a course of studies. Its emphasis is generally on measurement of cognitive behavior, sometimes on psychomotor, and occasionally on affective behaviors. Instrumentation is limited to final or summative examinations through a weighted sample of objectives. The average difficulty level of questions ranges from 35% to 70%. Scoring, though normally norm-referenced, can also be criterion referenced. Reporting of scores is by objectives. Summative evaluation is thus a judgmental activity focused on certification of students' achievement. Formative evaluation is developmental, not judgmental in nature. Its purpose is to improve students' learning and instruction. Therefore, its major function is feedback to the teacher and students to locate strengths and weaknesses in the teaching learning process in order to improve it. It operates during instruction and ideally should not be limited to assessment of cognitive behaviors. All classroom assessments which are not used for grading purpose, whether these are unit tests, informal tests, questioning during teaching, home assignments, classroom observations of pupils' responses, are examples of formative evaluation. For formative testing, specially designed instruments are devised. As for judgments or scoring, it is criterion referenced, not norm referenced, as in summative evaluation. Decisions are made to relate to steps to be taken to improve the instructional program vis-a-vis pupils' learning. Reporting of pupils' progress is done in terms of an individual pattern of pass-fail scores on different tasks in the hierarchy of learning outcomes. Formative evaluation is therefore a means of determining what the pupils have mastered and what is still to be mastered, thereby indicating the basis for improvement of students' learning. Now, next part in the video, I will read only the difference between the formative assessment and summative assessment. The video is going to be larger, and so now you can use this for your tape recorder, or you can listen to it in your mobile phone or earphone by using the headphones. And if you listen to it more and more time, it will enhance your memory power and it will help. Thank you.